Here we go. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hour number 4 of the line. Chuck 99.5. Chuck Davis bringing you this part of the show. Boy, do I like me some Chuck Davis, man. He's a good dude. He's a good attorney, and he handles a lot of stuff, a lot of different things. And I kind of give you the basics. I tell you about divorce and custody. I tell you about the wills and the probate, contracts, personal injury, all of these different things. And there's a little outside of that as well. But just like any other attorney, there's no attorney out there that does everything. Some of them concentrate on criminal, some of them concentrate on personal injury, and then they have other stuff that they do outside of that. It depends. It's a case to case basis. But here's what I like about Chuck is the fact that if you call him and you've got something that's just out there that is not what he deals with, he's got a network of the best attorneys around, and he's going to at least send you in the right direction. You're not going to call Chuck and leave empty-handed. You're going to be equipped with knowledge or a phone number, or you're going to be equipped with a brand new attorney. Chuck himself is going to represent you in any of these cases. My personal attorney, remember that. When I tell you guys about a company, it's because I use them, I believe in them, and I know they're going to take care of you when you tell them you're part of the Hey Now Nation. ChuckDavisLaw.com, 205 823 9992. It's 205 823 9992. No representation is made that the legal services provided are superior to the legal services provided by other lawyers. I got to say that, or I'll have somebody suing me. Just legal stuff. Legal stuff. Um, Speaking of the Somali community, there's video out there floating. Um, they say, and this is not me, this is according to stats and studies, that the IQ in the Somali community in Minneapolis and Minnesota is 68. That's not me. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying reports have said, studies have said that the average is 68. Now, at 62, you're legally retarded. Again, this is not me saying that. I'm just telling you
Just the facts.
just the facts. This is the numbers, okay? 62 is retarded. 68 is not retarded. Now, if in fact the average IQ is 68, there could be a lot of factors that go into that. If you come from another country and there's not an education system that's built in that allows you to grow and learn and have a standard level of education, that could contribute. And that could bleed on into generation after generation, because not only do you learn from school, you learn from your parents, your upbringing, and that plays into what you ultimately are on, what your intelligence level is. Um, and then also a barrier of language and understanding of you know U.S. history or U.S. laws and all this kind. It's a big problem when it comes to immigration, as we know. I'm not talking about that, but as we have concentrated on the fraud happening in the Somali community in Minneapolis, I do want people to understand that not all of them are committing fraud. Not all of them are. Because there's a video floating out there of a guy who went into a Minneapolis Walmart. And in this Walmart, they had a large amount of Somali employees. And as he goes around and asks for different items, such as where can I find this, where can I find that, none of them could understand anything he was saying. He goes up to one and he's like, "Do you know where hand warmers are?" And they're like, "Hand, chicken?" He's like, "No, hand warmers, chicken over there." And they point him in that direction. This is on the video, and you know, it's a little bizarre. if you ask me. You'd think Walmart would want to hire workers that could communicate with the customers, but that's Walmart's business if that's what they want to do. But it does prove, like, if you're running a Somali leering daycare center, or if you're running a Somali hospice shell company, you would have no need to work at Walmart, right? And so I got to give it to these Somalis. At least they're out here with a real job, even though they can't really conduct the duties of their job per se. But at least they're out there. You go to a Walmart where Somalis run it in Minneapolis, go in for ham warmers, leave with chicken. If anything, it's at least interesting. You probably have a good time. Anyway, I just needed to get that off my chest because that video has been playing in my head over the past 48 hours. Donald Trump also mentioned in one of his tweets about how the fraud is enormous in Minneapolis in the state of Minnesota, but it's going to be child's play once you figure out how much fraud is going on in California. And once they get their hands on that, people are going to be shocked. It's why California has run itself into the ground, because they allow this fraud. Not only do they spend money on crap that is useless, but fraud happens. And fraud happens right under people's noses. If the government awards a contract and nothing gets done, take the Palisades fires, for instance, that money's going somewhere. If money is allocated to a particular thing in the state of California and that particular thing doesn't come to fruition, where did the money go? Well, it ended up in the fraud camp. Somebody got it. It didn't just disappear. It didn't have an ICE agent didn't come up and disappear the money. One example is $236 million for a Gavin Newsom program to help the mentally ill. $236 million was allocated in California to help the mentally ill of California. You know how many people were helped with $236 million? 22 people. This program's been going on 4 years, and it helped 22 people. So where did the money go? It's fascinating how California keeps throwing massive amounts of cash at their homeless problem, and the problem just keeps growing, while lots of people get wealthy by running programs such as, California's mental health center or whatever. Gavin Newsom's $236 million program to help those with severe mental illness who bounce between homelessness and jail has helped 22 people since its launch in 2022. Newsom's Care Court, that's what it's called, Care Court, was built as a completely new paradigm to get the mentally ill off the streets and into treatment, with up to 12,000 people expected to benefit, according to the Daily Mail. But only 22 people have been sent to treatment over the past 4 years. The 22 court-ordered cases were among roughly 3,000 petitions filed statewide as of October. Of those, only 706 were approved, including 684 voluntary agreements that never intended to meet the program's goal. Of course, Gavin Newsom was asked about this. He denied the report. He says, that's crazy because we've at least helped 36 people. He didn't say that, but maybe he did. It's fraud going all over the place. And in the case of Minneapolis, this money is going to fraudulent shell companies, taxpayer dollars, and the officials know it. Tim Walz knows it. Ilhan Omar knows it. Jacob Frey knows it. They know. Dr. Oz has been doing a phenomenal job on this front, and I think more Trump officials should do this. Dr. Oz hits the road and is going to places like California. He went out to LA and was showing all of these empty buildings with writing on them in like Armenian and Russian languages that were supposed to be, it's like a big cluster of separate businesses that are supposed to be for hospice care. And he's like, all of these buildings are empty. Yet on an annual basis, these very businesses, these very empty buildings are receiving millions and millions and millions of dollars every year. So what you have is you have foreigners coming to this country, setting up fraudulent businesses, and then raking in bukus of taxpayer dollars. Foreigners coming in and stealing from you. Most people think that it's just Americans that are ripping off the system, that are soaking up the welfare. But it's not. It's not. It's foreign countries. Foreign countries are sending. It doesn't take Barack Obama to send billions of dollars on a pallet to Iran or to the Taliban or whoever in order for foreigners to get taxpayer dollars. They come over here and our government allows it. Allows it. Another one, Dr. Oz and Jim O'Neill were in Minnesota, and they revealed over 400 Medicaid businesses that were started at just one converted factory in Minnesota. This is a giant factory. And they basically just turned it into a bunch of office buildings. And they were all generally the same business. They were all run by foreigners. And they were raking in millions and millions of dollars. He said roughly 400 Medicaid businesses were started in the building behind me over the last several years. They generated about $380 million of billing that you, the taxpayers, were putting up. He said that the building's location is less than ideal for autistic children and healthcare services, and questioned whether or not the owner of the building was aware of the situation. He said, what did the owner of the business, this building, think was happening inside? Why did no one in the state figure out this was a concern? And perplexingly to me, in a place of this nature, an industrial complex that people would not come to for childcare or autism or transportation support, how is it possible this could come up like an abscess in the heart of Minneapolis and nobody was watching? He says, I think it's because they weren't looking. They didn't want to know this problem was happening here. And it's very concerning to me that only now, when there's more federal supervision, are people beginning to ask tough questions. It's called the Griggs Midway Building. And by the way, it's not a new discovery. Their local KARE 11, a local Minnesota news outlet, reported on a federal investigation that identified 22 HHS providers that received $8 million in Medicaid payments from January 24 to May of 25. Much of the fraud allegedly revolved around a Medicaid-funded housing program for senior citizens and disabled citizens requiring assistance with finding housing, but they couldn't seem to figure out who exactly the programs were helping or that the businesses were helping. So just remember that. When you talk about fraud, when you talk about taxpayer dollars being stolen, a lot of the time, it ain't even Americans doing it. And this is why Democrats are so for open borders. Because as the people come in from all over the world, they are given the opportunity to not just live on welfare, but to actively steal from the American taxpayers. 205 545 9950. Next week, we're finding out that Trump is going to announce Jerome Powell's replacement. That's huge. That is enormous news, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it's Scott Bessent. I don't think it's going to be Scott Bessent, but it would be cool if it was. All right, let's see. Underdog Fantasy, underdogfantasy.com and the Underdog Fantasy app. As you know, as I've been saying, the big game coming up just around the corner, Seahawks and the Patriots, and I want to see you win money. I want y'all, for those of y'all that already play Underdog or you've been thinking about playing Underdog, when you get on there and you make your picks and you win money, I want you to text the show and tell me. I like hearing that stuff. And just let me know how it's going. If you like it, you don't like it, it's fine either way. As long as you sign up and use my promo code HeyNow, all one word. That's all I'm asking you to do right now is just sign up on the app. Download the app. It's free. Sign up and use promo code HeyNow. What you're doing there is not only are you looking to see if it's something you like, but you're helping your boy out by doing that. I need y'all to do that for me. Would you? Would you please? Would you please? Download the app, sign up, and look around. And when you're ready to play, make your picks, get your picks right. You win money, real money. I'm talking about real money that you can then turn around and put in your bank account to spend. Dead serious, man. I've done it a bunch of times, and I'm going to continue to do it. I play Underdog all the time, and it's the best. It's the best. So what are you waiting for? Download the app today and use promo code HeyNow to score $75 in fantasy bonus entries when you play your first $5 on fantasy. That's promo code HeyNow. Underdog, make plays, win money. It must be 19 or older and present in Alabama. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms _DFS_.html for details. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org. Sam's on the line. Sam, what's up?
Andrew.
Hey, buddy.
It has occurred to me because I've heard that statistic about the average IQ of these Somali immigrants is 68. That means that the best and brightest of them are the ones who are committing the scams.
That's right.
The rest of them must be literally dumb as a damn box of rocks.
Which is quite the stat to say that you only got to hit that 68 number to be able to commit large-scale fraud against the federal government. That says more about the federal government than it does the 68 IQ Somali.
Well, I think no. If you think about it the other way, that the ones who are committing the fraud are above 68. That means that the rest of them are below it.
No, that's true.
If you look at the bell curve, right?
Yeah, that's a big gap.
The fraudsters are on the right side of the bell curve, and then everybody else is on the left.
That's a good point. Yeah, because you've got two sets of people. You've got the ones committing the fraud, and then you got the other ones that are just counting the money as it comes in.
Right, and they're like, okay, I don't know why I get all this money, but
yeah, that's right. That's right. That's a good. Makes sense. I think that's probably the case.
So when we deport those people, that's going to queue down to about 50.
Yeah. It's not going to be a good look. Appreciate it, buddy.
All right, bye.
Yeah, we should, what we should do through all the different groups of people and see what everybody's be offensive if we did that?
I think somebody would find it. Somebody somewhere.
I don't know. I'll think about it. Earnest Financial. RetireWithEarnest.com. RetireWithEarnest.com. As you know, David Ernest, you hear him on this station. You hear him all over the place, man. He's a mover and a shaker. They get it done, and especially when it comes to your retirement, they get your retirement secured. They get it protected, and they make it grow. I mean, there's only so many ways I can explain that to you, but the way to find out exactly what I'm talking about is to give them a call. And it's I say this about everybody, like if you just simply want to ask questions, all of my guys that are on this show are more than happy to talk to you. They'll talk to you about any issue you got. If you want to know exactly what it is they do, in David Ernest's case, if you want to know exactly how it is that they protect retirements, they'll explain it to you. And the beauty of it, it doesn't cost you anything. Not just a phone call, but none of it. None of it costs you anything. They don't get fees from you. They get them elsewhere. So you don't have to worry about that part. You just got to worry about taking the initiative to make the call and get that retirement protected, baby. Here's the number, 833-596-7233. That's 833-596-7233. And online, RetireWithEarnest.com. Yeah. And with that said, without further ado, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for the Wheel of Segments.
Wear your clothes at.
Where your clothes
Where
at?
your clothes at?
Here comes,
Boogie that, boogie that,
there goes,
boogie that, boogie that.
and he ain't wearing no clothes.
Oh, yes, they call him the street.
Look at that,
Fastest thing on 2 feet.
Where your clothes at? An absolute classic. This is Carrie's favorite. Because I think it's where the whole what does she look like started.
Well, yeah, it has a lot to do with it.
Well, what does she look like?
Without clothes.
Okay. Let's start off. I've had to kind of call an audible on this particular segment because I had one story about a naked man causing chaos inside a Panama City Hobby Lobby. Apparently, this was happened back on Monday, 7:45 p.m. Customers doing some last minute. Oh, wait. No, this is back in December. Okay, never mind. This is an old story. This is even more reason for me to trash it. Apparently, a witness told News 13 the man took his clothes off outside of a nearby dental office and ran into the Hobby Lobby and then started a bunch of chaos. He ended up getting physical with employees and even grabbed a customer, leaving her shaking up. Shake it out. But I don't want to do that one. I want to do this one. This one actually just came across, and it's out of Blount County, Alabama.
Get out.
Swear. It says, Blount County man arrested on electronic solicitation of a child and held without bond. A Locust Fork man being held without bond following an arrest tied to an electronic solicitation of a child investigation. On January 28th, deputies issued an arrest warrant and search warrant at the residence of the 11500 block of Clayt Tidwell Road in Locust Fork. Authorities arrested Justin Taylor Tier, who's 31 years old, on one count of electronic solicitation of a child. He's being held on no bond. Investigators alleged that on December 9th, 2025, Tier communicated electronically with a 14-year-old female in the United Kingdom. According to the Sheriff's Department, the communications included requests for explicit material and the transmission of explicit images and videos. Officials say the messages also discussed graphic sexual acts. During the search of the residence, deputies seized multiple electronic devices. The Sheriff's Department said additional charges may be forthcoming. At the time of his arrest, authorities said Tier was out on bond related to previous charges, including dissemination of child pornography, assault in the third degree, and theft of property in the fourth degree. He was previously arrested on July 7th, 2025, in connection with those offenses. Apparently, I don't know, the where your clothes at comes in. Apparently, he sent her naked pictures.
Yeah.
And this dude probably thought,
Will never understand that as long as I live.
this guy probably thought, like, I'm talking to a girl in the UK, like, they can't get me on any kind of charges because the girl's not located in this country. But little did he know.
What a dumb ace.
What a dumb ice. And then another one, have a nude Louisiana woman attacked a cop who told her to leave a private pond. She claimed she was trying to be a mermaid. Erin Elizabeth Sutton, 41 years old, generated a call to 911 for allegedly trespassing on a property in Linville. That property has a substantial pond but belongs to her neighbor, who called the police for help. A caller told dispatchers that Sutton had been swimming nude in their pond and refused to leave the water. As officers were arriving at the caller's home, they learned that Sutton had allegedly started screaming when she was asked to leave the water. The caller said that this was not the first time Sutton had availed herself of the pond, and that repeated past warnings to stay out of the water had been summarily ignored. Deputies allegedly tried reasoning with Sutton, who allegedly refused at first to get out, as she was, quote, trying to be a mermaid. Officers eventually coaxed her, or the sea nymph wannabe, out of the pond and called the EMS to evaluate Sutton. The statement said that when they tried moving Sutton to an unspecified home, she suddenly started to charge at one of the deputies. She was tased, but cops said the electrical jolt had zero effect, and she continued towards the officer.
Yeah, fish are tough.
When Sutton reached them, she kicked and punched the deputy. Sutton was finally restrained and taken to the hospital, allegedly threatening to kill the deputies and the paramedics the whole way there.
Man, it's a violent fish.
That sure is.
She's lucky she didn't get eaten up by an alligator.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not swimming in a pond in Louisiana.
Yeah, nah, you can't do that. And then there was a story. I'm flying through them because I've actually got 5 different stories. This one, the headline says, Florida man wearing a lace bra and G-string was arrested on a construction site while in possession of a gun. Boy, that's awkward.
Guess he was carrying it, right, in his hand.
I don't know. Florida man is facing a number of criminal charges after he was allegedly caught on an active construction site while wearing a red lace bra, a pair of silicone breast implants, and a G-string, all while in possession of a firearm. Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said a lace bra, a G-string, and a hidden gun. Folks, you cannot make this up. He said that some of the details he was about to share may scar you for life. According to Judd, police first noticed Matthew Zaccarino on December 14th standing next to his vehicle, which was parked next to the construction site. The 39-year-old man was alone. As deputies approached him, they apparently noticed he was allegedly wearing a red lace bra that also had prosthetic silicone breasts. They said, then we noticed he's wearing a G-string. Adding, the deputies thought the entire situation was highly unusual, but had no idea how deadly things could have gotten. Judd said that the man had been hiding a gun beneath one of the breast implants. It was unclear, though, if the gun was loaded. He said, quote, he was on his way to a costume party, according to what he told deputies. They allegedly asked him for the party's address, and he reportedly clammed up and stopped answering any of their questions. Judd said, can you imagine? He's mad at us for trying to find out why he's wearing lace bras with guns and G-strings or G-somethings. He said it was ugly, so ugly.
I can only imagine.
Deputies said that he told him he needed to stop moving, but instead he began taking off the undergarments.
Oh, dear.
Deputies then found the gun hidden beneath one of the implants as they were patting down the suspect. According to the arrest report, he allegedly reached inside the vehicle, at which point deputies handcuffed him and took him into custody. He was subsequently charged with trespassing while armed with a firearm, loitering and prowling, and resisting arrest without violence. It's unclear if he had been asked to enter pleas on those charges or had retained a lawyer who could speak on his behalf.
Yeah, my client's crazy, Your Honor. He's crazy.
Yeah, if you're the public official or a public attorney for that guy, you just be like, listen, Cole,
They're the pictures, man.
you
can't just, you got to send him somewhere else.
you're going to have to go ahead and take this L, buddy. Because that's, we're not going to be able to do a whole lot. And last but not least, Gary will like this one. This is also out of Florida. Headline reads, man arrested for performing sex act with vacuum cleaner at Kissimmee Resort.
Now, why would I like this one?
Kissimmee. I said Kissimmee. Kissimmee. I don't know. It's just because it's interesting.
You know, you do one thing with a vacuum cleaner and you're labeled for life.
And you can get a reputation after a while,
I mean,
you know.
Jeez.
Kissimmee, Florida, on January 22nd, Kevin Dale Westerhold, 51 years old, that's about your age as well,
Yeah, you know.
was reported for exposing his genitals and performing a sexual act with a vacuum cleaner outside a residence on Grassendale Street, Windsor Hills Resort in Kissimmee, Florida.
Was it plugged in?
We're about to find out. He was arrested on January 27th and faces charges of sexual exposure. The initial report was filed with the how do you say Osceola County? It's not Ocala.
No, Osceola. Sounds good.
It was filed with the sheriff's office after witnesses saw Westerhold inappropriately exposing himself. When deputies arrived, the suspect had already left the scene, leading to an investigation into earlier complaints of similar behavior at the resort. After the incident, deputies found that Westerhold and his wife were registered as hosts for an Airbnb at Grassendale Street and another property at Almaton Loop, both located in Windsor Hills Resort. Previous reports indicated he was seen walking nude in shared hallways on January 21st, and residents submitted video evidence supporting these reports. Wait, so he had a girl with him?
Huh.
And you're still sticking it in a vacuum cleaner?
Man.
Further investigation showed that residents had been reporting complaints to the Homeowners Association since December. They described similar behaviors, such as the suspect appearing partially clothed or nude near the residence. This was confirmed by video footage from a nearby Ring camera and Blink devices. The sheriff's office urges anyone who has experienced unwanted contact with Westerhold to come forward with any additional details. Well, I didn't get any details on what he did with the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, I need to know what kind of vacuum it was. I mean, was it
Would it be
upright or, canister?
if that's you,
cordless?
if that's you, what brand are you going with?
I mean, I don't know. Probably.
A Kirby?
No, it's too strong. Probably
Oh,
a
you want it? You
little
need
shark.
you need something more sensual.
Right.
What's the one? There's one that's kind of a play on. It's a play on words. It's called like bull something. I can't remember.
I'm not sure I know.
I don't know. I don't know the different vacuum cleaner brands anyway. So, I wouldn't. If that's your thing, I wouldn't know what advice to give you.
There's a club.
But like a Hoover or Rainbow. How about a Rainbow?
That's taking it a little too far.
Rainbow vac is for those that are part of the LGBTQ plus community
Yes.
that enjoy vacuum relations.
They are banned from our club.
And that's what we call where your clothes at.
He's just in the mood to ride in the new.
Oh, yes, they call him the street.
I'll tell you, man.
He
Y'all got yourself a Goodwill segments today. I gave you 5 stories. 5. You never get 5 stories. I always limit it to 3, but there was just so many naked people. I couldn't help myself. Mandu. What can I say about Mandu that I hadn't already said? Not a whole lot, except for Mandu's changed my life, and it could change your life as well. I know that sounds cliche, and you're like, hey, Andrew, what do you mean I can't change my life? You know, my life is this. Take my word on it, man. Take my word on it. I see listeners often at Mandu because they had taken my advice, gone and gotten the free session, and tried it out. And once they did, they realized, hey, Andrew's not just blowing smoke. Like, this stuff really works. A 15-minute workout that is the equivalent of spending 4 to 6 hours in the gym, like, you can't get that anywhere else. You get in a suit. They put you in a suit. You got a personal trainer, by the way, walking you through every step of the way. You don't have to know squat. You can be a Somali with a 68 IQ and go in here and do this. All right, they put you in a suit. They hook you up to a machine. They turn the machine on, and you just do the simple workouts they ask you to do. Could be curling with dumbbells. Could be, doing some squats, doing this, doing that, doing some stretches. They walk you through all of it. It's very easy. And if you start doing it, you're going to see results so fast, it's going to blow your mind. And not just physical appearance, which will change, but your metabolism is going to go up. It's going to work harder. You're going to be losing weight. You're going to be eliminating visceral fat, the fat that's around your organs, which is possibly the most important part of all of this, and just generally be healthier. For those of you with back issues, I'm going to tell you right now, I had back issues for years and years and years. I got 2 ruptured discs in my lower back, and ever since I started doing Mandu, I haven't had any major problems since. It has done wonders. I want you to try it. Try it for free by going to the website, mandu.com, MANDUU.com, and sign up for that free session. Or if you want to call them and set them up that way, perfectly fine. Remember, no strings attached. This is 100% free session on your first time, and then you decide what you want to do after that. 205-438-6003, 438-6003, and also on the website, information for Mandu Huntsville, which is up and rolling. Man, those guys have been rocking and rolling, doing such a good job. And Mandu Tuscaloosa coming on February 14th. They're going to be up, rocking and rolling. For those of you in those areas, check out Mandu, MANDUU.com. Quick break. More show coming up. Ronnie says, don't knock a Kirby until you tried it. And TR says, definitely a shop vac. Chris says, it's not rainbow. It's not a rainbow. It's a rainbow. Double R says, I think Carrie would use a shop vac.
Way too strong.
Robert says, once you go Black and Decker, once you go Black and Decker, you don't go back with your pecker. Black and Decker for your pecker. That's inappropriate. Speaking of peckers, Alabama Men's Clinic for you one more time. AlabamaMen'sClinic.com. AlabamaMen'sClinic.com. You've heard me talk about them. You've heard me tell you about how they change men's lives, and they absolutely, that's not hyperbole. It's not even, actually, I'm supposed to be telling you about Alabama Professional Services. I just totally botched that, but I'll go ahead and tell you. Call Alabama Get it together, Andrew. Call Alabama Men's Clinic at 205-598-7000. Okay? You already know about that. Now let me tell you about Alabama Professional Services. APS, Alabama Professional Services. This has got to do with your foundation. It's got to do with your pest control. It's got to do with your basement waterproofing and crawl space encapsulation. They can get you handled on all those fronts. But in particular, pest control. Y'all remember, pest control is where it's at. These guys will absolutely make sure you're 100% good and you ain't got no bugs in your place. You got no bugs in your house. You got no critters in your house. They've been doing this since the 70s, which tells you that they are good at what they do. 205-951-9717. It's 205-951-9717. Online, alabamaprofessional.com. Hook it up. Yeah, Black & Decker. I don't know. You say a shop vac's probably too strong?
I would think so.
I mean,
That's for
yeah.
shop. That's for shop.
Shop vacs usually don't have settings on them either, do they?
Yeah, you just take off the hose and put it on the back and it blows.
Oh, okay. Well, so you got a double whammy there.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Invite a friend.
Yeah. Invite a friend over. Yeah. And by the way, I don't know if I should say this out loud, but I officially invited you to come on the Over the Line podcast Friday, if your wife will let you do it.
You have. I'll have to get permission.
You think she will? Tell her, hit me up if I need to talk to her and tell her, because my wife and your wife are going to do the same thing, quite possibly at the same theater at the same time. We don't know.
That's true.
But, just tell her, like, this is the opportunity of a lifetime. Is there something you can trade her to be like, hey, if you let me go, if you let me get out of this movie, I can give you X, Y, and Z?
I think she worries about what I'm going to say.
Well, tell her.
When the restraints are taken off.
Yeah, tell her it's all the same. We're still restrained by, YouTube rules and stuff. So
You may not want me on then.
Well, let's make
We'll
it
figure
happen,
out something. Yeah, for sure.
because the audience would enjoy
For sure.
that. Let's make it happen. That'll be 6 p.m. tomorrow night, live on the YouTube. But Noto Roofing, Noto Roofing.com, NotoRoofing.com, 205-848-2299. I just talked to Chris at Noto a few moments ago. I said, how's it going, man? Y'all staying busy? He's like, yes, we are busy. The reason for that is, one, because you guys reach out to them, but two, they've built a reputation where everybody knows Noto is where it's at. So get the free roof inspection, complimentary roof tune-up, 205-848-2299, and all that info online, NotoRoofing.com. Leland Live up next. Until next time, circle!